Chapter 21, Distribution of Blood Spirit Grass and Advanced Blood Talent. You are listening at novelfold.audio. Junior Brother Yang, I will take 9 of these blood spirit grasses, and you will take 1. How do you feel? Li Qifei landed next to Yang Feng, pointed at the blood spirit grass in the elixir garden not far away, and said with a smile on his face. Senior Brotherly, we have split the blood spirit grass between us, what will they do? Yang Feng looked at the more than 1,000 outer disciples who were collecting the body of the armored cow not far away, and asked Li Qi softly. They are not qualified to share the blood spirit grass. It would be nice to be able to share the carcasses of some armored cattle. Junior Brother Yang, we have been promoted to Magic Realm monks. After we leave the blood spirit secret realm, we will be directly promoted to inner disciples. We are in 2 different worlds from these outer disciples. You don't have to care at all. How they feel? Li Qi glanced at the more than 1,000 outer disciples not far away, and said in a calm tone, without taking the more than 1,000 outer disciples into his eyes at all, if it weren't for Yang Feng's outstanding talent, extraordinary qualifications, and unlimited future prospects, and wanted to build a good relationship with Yang Feng in advance, Li Qi would not have given Yang Feng a blood spirit grass, or even a blood spirit grass to Yang Feng. Hearing Li Qi's words, Yang Feng nodded slightly and said, Senior Brotherly contributed the most to this operation to wipe out the armored cattle, and he should get the most blood spirit grass. I have no objection. After receiving Yang Feng's affirmative answer, a faint smile flashed in Li Qi's eyes. He took out a jade slip from his arms and handed it to Yang Feng. Junior Brother Yang, I think you haven't had time to practice your magic yet. This jade slip contains records I have learned some basic spells, you can use them to practice. However, the skills after the 3rd level of Shen Ju cannot be taught to you privately without the permission of the sect. You must wait until you return to the sect and go to the sect scripture pavilion to receive it. Seeing the jade slip in Li Qi's hand, a look of surprise flashed in Yang Feng's eyes. He quickly took it and said with a solemn expression, Senior Brotherly, I will keep your kindness in mind, and I will surely repay you generously in the future. Hearing Yang Feng's assurance, Li Qi smiled slightly, patted Yang Feng's shoulder and said, we are all brothers. We should support and help each other. You don't have to be so polite. After saying that, Li Qi entered the elixir garden and began to pick the blood spirit grass. When Li Qi picked all the blood spirit grass in the elixir garden, he gave Yang Feng more than 1-year-old blood spirit grass and more than 3 6 or 7-year-old blood spirit grass. As for the other more than 3,000 blood spirit grasses, they all entered Li Qi's space ring. Everyone, things here are over, I'm leaving first. Li Qi glanced at the more than 1,000 outer disciples in the valley, said hello, then rose into the air, turned into a stream of light and galloped away into the distance. Everyone, I have to leave first, you can do whatever you want. Seeing this scene, Yang Feng said hello to the more than 1,000 brothers in the valley, then moved his body, turned into a stream of light and galloped away into the distance. Damn it! I really lost a lot today. Worry, I worked so hard and didn't even touch a single blood spirit grass. It's really irritating. Li Qi is really not a human being. He didn't even give us a piece of blood spirit grass. I'm so angry. Don't you think about it? You dare to mock Senior Brother Li Qi. Aren't you afraid that Senior Brother Li Qi will find out and cause trouble for you? This world is originally a world where the jungle prevails. We are weak. We are not in the eyes of Senior Brother Li Qi, and we cannot get the blood spirit grass. That's right. Who made us weak? Stop complaining. Yang Feng, a Mana Realm monk, only got 1 piece of blood spirit grass. We warriors in the Gangqi realm can't even get a piece of blood spirit grass. After Li Qi and Yang Feng left, more than 1,000 outer disciples of Shen sect in the valley started talking loudly. After a while of discussion, more than 1,000 brothers in the valley left the valley in groups. Including the blood spirit grass I obtained above, I have more than 4 blood spirit grasses in my hand, which should be able to increase my bloodline talent to 1 level. Also, I have all my magic power now, but I can't use it effectively. I'm too passive. So, I'd better find a place to retreat first, refine all the blood spirit grass in my hand, improve my bloodline talent, practice the spells given by Li Qi, improve my combat effectiveness, and then continue to look for blood spirit grass. Good. After leaving the valley, young Feng murmured softly, then moved and turned into a stream of light, speeding towards the cave where he had previously retreated. Soon, young Feng returned to the entrance of the cave and placed the formation plate at the entrance. Then he entered the depths of the cave, sat cross-legged, took out the blood spirit grass and swallowed it. As each blood spirit grass is consumed, mysterious energy is released from it and integrated into young Feng's flesh and blood cells, allowing his flesh and blood cells to continuously evolve. When young Feng swallowed more than 24 blood spirit grasses in a row, especially the blood spirit grass that was more than 1 year old, his bloodline talent was upgraded from intermediate to high level. Mysterious messages were released from young Feng's bloodline genes and appeared in his mind, allowing him to instantly obtain many flame inheritance memories. The advanced bloodline talent is more than times stronger than the intermediate bloodline talent. I don't know how many blood spirit grasses I have to take to upgrade the advanced bloodline talent to the top bloodline talent. Feeling the changes in his body, especially sensing the many additional flame inheritance memories in his mind, young Feng's eyes flashed with excitement, and he couldn't help but sighed softly. This time, there are many powerful flame spells in the flame inheritance memory, which can greatly improve young Feng's combat effectiveness. At the same time, young Feng's high level blood talent also improved his cultivation talent a lot, especially the flame cultivation talent, which is extremely powerful and has surpassed the ordinary fire spirit body. Practicing flame skills will get twice the result with half the effort. If young Feng can improve his blood talent to the fairy level, he can activate the flame law imprinted in the inheritance gene, easily comprehend the power of the flame law, and before the cave heaven realm, there is no barrier, and he can easily be promoted to a strong man in the law realm. After a sigh, young Feng continued to take the blood spirit grass without any hesitation, and continued to strengthen the blood and flesh cells to improve the level of blood talent. However, after young Feng swallowed and refined the remaining 24 blood spirit grasses, he only improved his high-level blood talent a lot, and it was still far from the top-level blood talent. However, young Feng didn't mind this. After all, there wasn't much else in the blood spirit secret realm, just a lot of blood spirit grass. As long as young Feng was careful and spent some time and energy, he would definitely be able to get more blood spirit grasses and upgrade his blood talent to the top-level blood talent, or even the immortal level blood talent. Window_tabula equals window_tabula push mode thumbs feed 01 container tabula below article thumbnail 300x250 placement below article thumbnail 300 by 250 target _type mix. Chapter 22 Fire Crow Technique. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ding. You practiced the flying technique once, and the effect of the practice was returned 10,000 times. Your flying technique has reached the state of great success. You can fly freely in the sky. Ding. You practiced the sword control technique once, and the effect of the practice was returned 10,000 times. Your sword control technique has reached the state of small success. You can control the flying sword and kill the enemy from 1,000 meters away. Ding. You practiced the fire crow technique once, and the effect of the practice was returned 10,000 times. Your fire crow technique has reached the peak state. With a thought, you can condense the fire crows and form a fire crow formation to burn the enemy to ashes. Amidst the crisp prompts, young Feng successfully practiced the basic spells one by one, which made his comprehensive strength and combat effectiveness soar, and his mana was also put to good use. After that, young Feng got up and left the cave, performed the flying technique, soared into the air, and rushed into the depths of the sky. When young Feng flew to an altitude of 10,000 meters, a strong gust of wind blew his cheeks painfully, forcing him to mobilize the magic power in his body and condense a protective shield to protect his body. At this time, young Feng did not continue to charge into the sky, but hovered at an altitude of 10,000 meters, looking around and observing the situation around him. Soon, young Feng found that he was in the outer area of a mountain range. If you fly a few kilometers to the east, or fly more than a mile in any direction of the south and north. You can leave the mountains and enter a vast plain. As for the west, there are endless mountains, and there are lush and leafy forests everywhere. After Yang Feng pondered for a while, he lowered the flight altitude and flew to the depths of the western mountains at an altitude of 1,000 meters. According to the information Yang Feng had learned, there should be more blood spirit grass in the mountains, and less blood spirit grass on the plains. Therefore, Yang Feng chose to fly to the depths of the western mountains to find more blood spirit grass. Roar! 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 When Yang Feng flew several miles to the west, angry beast roars sounded from the mountains not far away. A strange bird about 10 feet long, covered with gray hair, with a pointed beak, about 1 foot long, and flashing with metallic luster, flew into the air from the mountains not far away and pounced directly on Yang Feng. Fire crow technique. Looking at the several strange birds flying towards him in front, Yang Feng's eyes flashed with a fierce light, and he shouted softly, and the mana in his body surged. A fire crow more than 10 feet long condensed in the sky, with a scorching flame, and met a strange bird. Boom! 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 Accompanied by a series of violent explosions, a fire crow exploded when it hit the strange bird. The powerful explosive force killed the strange bird and turned it into bloody and fleshy fragments all over the sky, which scattered downwards. In a moment, several strange birds were killed by the fire crow. At this time, Yang Feng moved his body and turned into a stream of light, flying towards the forest where the strange bird took off. So many blood spirit grass, that when Yang Feng came to the top of the forest where the strange bird took off, a bunch of blood spirit grass entered his field of vision, which made his eyes light up and he exclaimed involuntarily, "Roar! Roar! Roar!" At this time, a series of angry roars sounded from the forest near the blood spirit grass. The strange bird, with wings spread to more than 10 feet long and emitting strong mana fluctuations, soared into the air from the mountains and forests, turned into a stream of light, and flew straight towards Yang Feng. During this process, a series of 10-foot-long green wind blades condensed in front of the strange bird, with sharp edges, slashing towards Yang Feng's body, as if it wanted to cut Yang Junqing into pieces. Facing the attack of the green wind blades, Yang Feng's expression did not change. With a thought, the fire crow technique was performed. One by one, the fire crows, about 10 feet long, condensed in the void, with a hot breath of flames, and met the green wind blades. Boom! 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 Amidst the fierce roars, the fire crows collided with the green wind blades, causing a violent explosion. The terrifying explosive force destroyed the surrounding trees, turning them into countless fragments and scattering them on the ground. Fire crow formation. At this time, Yang Feng shouted softly, and the mana in his body surged wildly. Fire crows condensed in the void, releasing a hot flame breath, which instantly raised the temperature around by several degrees. Immediately afterwards, a fire crow formed a large formation, turned into a fiery red stream of light, and flew straight towards a strange bird in the second level of mana realm. Feeling the terrifying aura of the fire crows emanating from the fire crow array, the 2 second-level magic power birds immediately roared in anger, condensed a series of green wind blades, and bombarded the fire crow array, trying to destroy it. Later, the fire crow array was formed by more than a dozen fire crows, gathering the terrifying power of more than a dozen fire crows. The green wind blades could not defeat it at all, and could not even slow down its flying speed. It could only reduce the power of the fire crow array. Soon, the fire crow array flew in front of the 2 second-level magic power birds and surrounded them. Boom! 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 At this moment, a large formation of fire crows exploded, and the terrifying explosive force directly killed the 2 strange birds of the second-level mana realm that were surrounded in the middle of the fire crow formation, turning them into ashes and disappearing with the wind. After killing a second-level magic power realm strange bird in one fell swoop, Yang Feng moved his body and landed in front of a piece of blood spirit grass, quickly picking the blood spirit grass. In a moment, Yang Feng picked up all the blood spirit grass in the forest, allowing him to obtain more than 1,000 blood spirit grasses, including more than a year-old blood spirit grasses, which can be said to be a bumper harvest. There are too many blood spirit grasses in the blood spirit secret realm. There are so many blood spirit grasses in this small forest alone. There must be so many blood spirit grasses in the entire mountain range and the entire secret realm, that putting more than 1,000 blood spirit grasses into the space ring, Yang Feng sighed softly, performed the flying technique, soared into the air, turned into a stream of light and continued to fly deep into the mountains. Brother in front, help me, that after Yang Feng flew more than a kilometer deep into the mountains, a loud and clear cry for help sounded from the distant sky. A tall, sexy, and pretty woman in a pink dress drove a silver flying boat that was more than 10 feet long, and it was approaching Yang Feng like a silver lightning. At the same time, a black eagle with a wingspan of more than 10 feet, covered with black hair and exuding a terrifying aura, followed closely behind the pink woman and rushed to where Yang Feng was. A disciple of the mana realm of the ice god palace. A 6th-level heavenly realm monster, that looking at the pink-dressed woman in the sky, and seeing the huge black eagle behind her, Yang Feng's face changed drastically, and he exclaimed softly, then turned around and fled to the distance, not daring to stay where he was. Window_tabula equals window_tabula dot push, mode, thumbs, feed, 01, container, tabula below article feed, placement, below article feed, target_type, mix. Chapter 23 Killing the 6th-level beast. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Senior brother in front, don't run, wait. Seeing Yang Feng turn around and run away, the woman in a pink dress driving a silver flying boat flashed a fierce light in her eyes. She immediately activated the magic in her body, displayed her charm skills, and shouted with a clear and sweet voice. Hearing the clear and sweet voice of the woman, Yang Feng was shocked, and an invisible force surged in his mind, making him want to stop and rescue the woman. However, Yang Feng's soul was naturally extremely powerful, far superior to monks of the same level. The invisible power that entered his mind only affected Yang Feng a little, and was shattered by Yang Feng's soul. At this time, a cold murderous intention flashed in Yang Feng's eyes, and he glared hard at the woman in pink clothes. He remembered her appearance in his mind, activated all the magic in his body, and continued to escape far away. You are actually able to block S main attack. What a great talent. Seeing that Yang Feng was not affected by her voice, a look of surprise flashed in the pink-clothed woman's eyes, and she whispered softly. Quan activated the silver airship under her feet, doubling the speed of the silver airship, and rushed towards Yang Feng like lightning. Flying away from him, soon, the woman in pink approached Yang Feng more than 10 feet away and said with a smile, Senior brother, retreat first. I'll leave the Black Hawk behind to you to deal with. I wish you good luck. After saying that, the woman in pink picked up the silver flying boat at her feet, took out a jade talisman from the space ring, and activated it. Immediately afterwards, an invisible force was inspired from the jade talisman, surrounding the body of the woman in pink clothes, causing it to disappear from Yang Feng's vision and consciousness. Roar! 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 At this time, the black eagle in the distance suddenly lost sight of the woman in pink, let out a series of extremely angry roars, suddenly doubled its speed, and quickly approached Yang Feng. Fuck! I was fucked. Seeing this scene, Yang Feng's expression changed slightly. He cursed loudly, then used the air control technique and flew away far away. During the flight, Yang Feng deliberately lowered his flying speed and flew in the mountains and forests, trying to use the dense jungle to block the Black Hawk's view. However, after Black Eagle disappeared from the traces of the woman in pink, he learned a lesson and locked Yang Feng directly with his spiritual consciousness, leaving Yang Feng nowhere to escape. If you run away like this, you will definitely die. You must find a way to kill this Black Hawk. After flying for more than 100 kilometers in the mountains and forests, Yang Feng glanced at the Black Hawk following him. A fierce light flashed in his eyes. He whispered softly and flew towards a valley not far away. Roar! 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 Seeing Yang Feng flying into a valley, the Black Eagle roared angrily, and its wings flickered slightly. A wind blade that was many feet long was condensed in the void. With a sharp edge, it shot towards Yang Feng overwhelmingly, looking like it wanted to chop Yang Junqing into pieces. Seeing this scene, Yang Feng's expression changed slightly. He hesitated for a moment, then took out a jade talisman from the space ring and activated it. A golden protective shield shot out from the jade talisman to protect Yang Feng's body. Bang! 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 Amidst the clear sounds of metal collisions, sharp wind blades fell on the golden protective shield, sparking bright sparks. However, they were still unable to break through the defense of the golden protective shield, let alone cause any real damage to Yang Feng. Sexual harm. Seeing Yang Feng blocking the attack of the wind blade, Black Eagle let out a series of angry roars. With a movement of his body, turned into a black lightning and rushed straight towards Yang Feng. Go to hell! Seeing Black Eagle approaching rapidly, Yang Feng roared angrily, took out the last two jade talismans from the space ring, and threw them towards Black Eagle. Suddenly, I saw only a golden sword about 10 feet long, and a golden spear about 10 feet long, shooting out from the two jade talismans, with terrifying power, shooting at Black Eagle's body. And go, feeling the terrifying power contained in the golden sword and golden spear, Black Eagle's complexion changed, and he immediately activated the magic in his body, and condensed a black protective shield outside his body to protect his body. At the same time, the Black Eagle stretched its wings forward to protect its head from the golden sword and golden spear. Bang! Bang! Amid the two crisp sounds, the golden long sword and the golden spear carried terrifying power, easily piercing through the Black Eagle's condensed black protective shield, and pierced through the Black Eagle's wings without losing momentum, and inserted into the Black Eagle's head. Among them, it caused blood to splash, let out a shrill scream, and fell downwards. Seeing the Black Hawk falling, a flash of excitement flashed in Yang Feng's eyes. With a movement of his body, he flew towards the Black Hawk. He used his sword control skills to activate the Qin Feng sword and stabbed the Black Hawk on the head. Go, however, what Yang Feng didn't expect was that the Qin Feng sword could not break through Black Eagle's head, leaving only a little white mark on it. At this time, Yang Feng was surprised to find out how strong the defense of the 6th-level celestial beast was, and how rubbish the Qin Feng sword in his possession was. However, Black Eagle's head has been pierced by the golden sword and golden spear. Black Eagle has also lost the breath of life and can no longer threaten Yang Feng's safety. Therefore, Yang Feng could safely approach Black Eagle and carefully observe Black Eagle's body. The ferocious beasts at the 6th level of celestial beings are so terrifying, aren't the ferocious beasts at the 7th level and above even more terrifying? With your current cultivation level, you can't fight against the beasts of the 6th level, let alone the beasts above the 6th level. Therefore, you should temporarily stay outside the mountain range and can't rashly enter the depths of the mountain range. After carefully observing the body of the Black Eagle, Yang Feng whispered a few words, and with a wave of his hand, he put the body of the Black Eagle into the space ring. Hey! What is that? But when Yang Feng was about to leave the valley, a deep cave entered his field of vision and attracted his attention. The deep cave was originally hidden in the mountain wall deep in the valley, and countless vines were entangled on the mountain wall, making it difficult to find, but the Black Eagle flapped its wings, and the countless wind blades it stirred up chopped all the vines on the mountain wall, and broke the rocks on the mountain wall, revealing the deep cave. The cave is quite deep. I wonder what's inside. Yang Feng released his spiritual sense and scanned the cave. He found that the cave was very deep, beyond the sensing distance of his spiritual sense. Yang Feng couldn't help but mutter, and walked into the deep cave. Yang Feng walked along the deep cave for more than 10 kilometers. A natural cave with a huge body came into his field of vision. His eyes lit up and he carefully observed the situation in the natural cave. Ancient monk ruins. That when a corpse with golden light came into Yang Feng's field of vision, his eyes lit up. He couldn't help but exclaimed and quickly walked towards the corpse. Window, _tabula equals window, _tabula, _tabula. Push, mode, thumbs, feed, 01, container, tabula, below, article, thumbnail, 300x250, placement, below article thumbnail, 300 by 250, target _type, mix. Chapter 24, Cave Beads and Ancient Cultivator Heritage. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 24 Cave Z Beads Ancient Cultivator Inheritance. Click. 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 Under Yang Feng's touch, the shimmering golden corpse instantly shattered into pieces, turning into countless gold powder and scattered on the ground. A golden bead rolled out from the golden corpse. Without any hesitation, Yang Feng immediately picked up the golden bead, observed it carefully, and let go of his consciousness to explore the golden bead. However, no matter how Yang Feng observed and explored, he could not find anything special about the beads. Seeing this scene, Yang Feng frowned slightly, pondered for a while, then swung the Qingfeng sword, made a mark on his left hand, and dropped drops of bright red blood on the golden beads. At this time, the golden beads released light suction forces, continuously sucking Yang Feng's blood into them. When Yang Feng lost too much blood and was about to be unable to bear it anymore, and when he was about to seal the injury, the golden beads released a stream of spiritual light, condensing a measurement screen about 10 feet high in front of Yang Feng. Immediately afterwards, an old man wearing a golden robe appeared on the measurement screen and said, "I am Wei Yong, a casual cultivator at the peak of Dongtian. If you can see this image of me, it means that I have been dead for a long time, and my broken soul has disappeared. I have one regret in my life, and that is that I didn't take good care of our Wei family. I hope you can take care of our Wei family for me. My requirements are not high. I just want you to make our Wei family a secular family and enjoy worldly glory and wealth. I want you to make an oath from your inner demons. In your lifetime, you will find the descendants of our Wei family and let our descendants of the Wei family become a secular family and enjoy the worldly glory and wealth. I will give you this cave heaven bead, which has been my life's hard work, as a reward for helping our Wei family. If you are unwilling to make the inner demon oath, the cave Z pearl will explode in minutes and blow you into ashes." After saying that, the figure of the old man in golden robe disappeared from the measurement screen, and the measurement screen also disappeared with it. The golden beads also broke free from Yang Feng's palm, releasing streams of bright spiritual light, forming a huge spiritual light shield, covering the space with a radius of 1 kilometer. After hearing Wei Wei's words and seeing the spiritual light shield that enveloped him, Yang Feng frowned slightly, and immediately walked quickly to the side of the spiritual light shield, swung the Qingfeng sword, used the Shantian sword technique, and slashed towards the spiritual light shield. However, as soon as the Qingfeng sword in Yang Feng's hand landed on the aura shield, it was shattered by the aura light on the aura shield and broke into countless fragments, flying around. Seeing this scene, Yang Feng frowned slightly, and immediately mobilized the magic power in his body to use the fire crow technique, condensing more than 100 fire crows, forming a fire crow array, and bombarding the spiritual light shield. However, as soon as the fire crow formation touched the spiritual light shield, it was defeated by the spiritual light emitted by the spiritual light shield, making little red lights and disappearing into nothingness. Damn it! Now I'm going to bite the bullet and take the inner demon oath. Seeing how powerful the spiritual light shield was, Yang Feng sighed helplessly, walked to the cave heaven pearl, and made the inner demon oath according to Wei Yong's request. As Yang Feng made the inner demon oath, the spiritual light shield automatically disintegrated, and the cave heaven pearl also flew into Yang Feng's palm. A tight connection appeared between Yang Feng's cave Z beads, and a stream of information was released from the cave Z beads and entered Yang Feng's sea of consciousness, allowing him to instantly understand all the information about the Dong Z beads. The cave Z bead is made from the main material of the cave world opened by Wei Yong himself, and is refined by merging some extremely precious heavenly materials and earthly treasures. Inside there is a small world with a diameter of 3,000 kilometers, with perfect laws of 5 elements. Time and the laws of space can be used to plant magical herbs and elixirs, and can also be used to raise ferocious beasts and humans in captivity. However, the aura of the cave Z bead had already been completely absorbed by Wei Yong, who was seriously injured and dying, and could not provide aura to the spiritual grass, elixir, ferocious beasts and humans at all, without the supply of spiritual energy, spiritual herbs, elixirs, ferocious beasts, and humans. Although they can survive in the cave Z beads, they will continue to consume their own spiritual energy. Not only will the spiritual grass and elixir not continue to grow and have stronger medicinal effects, but on the contrary, its own medicinal efficacy will gradually decrease due to the dissipation of its own spiritual energy. Not only are ferocious beasts and humans unable to practice cultivation and improve their cultivation strength in the caved Z beads, but they will instead cause the spiritual energy in their bodies to collapse and eventually turn into ordinary beasts and ordinary humans. Yang Feng wants to restore the spiritual energy in the caved Z pearl, and there are two ways. One is to cultivate to the cave heaven realm, integrate the cave heaven beads into one's own cave heaven, and absorb the spiritual energy from the outside world independently. One is that Yang Feng transferred the spiritual veins from the outside world to the cave heaven pearl to provide spiritual energy to the cave heaven pearl. Of course, even if you don't have spiritual veins, spiritual stones will do, yes. Supplying spiritual energy to the world of Dong Tianzhu requires too many spiritual stones, which is far less cost-effective than spiritual veins. In addition to the top-notch treasure of the cave heaven bead, Wei Yong also left Yang Feng a lot of weapons and equipment, as well as various jade slips and classics such as exercises, magical powers, alchemy, weapon refining, and talisman making, in addition to spiritual stones, elixirs and other healing resources. All of Wei Yong's property was left to Yang Feng, allowing Yang Feng to obtain all the property of a peak monk in the cave heaven realm and become rich instantly. Let me count the rewards Wei Yong gave me. After sensing the information about the caved Z bead, Yang Feng chuckled, then let go of his consciousness with a look of anticipation on his face, and probed into the caved Z bead to check the items inside. Because the caved Z bead was refined with blood, Yang Feng's spiritual consciousness can be blessed by the caved Z bead after entering the caved Z bead, and can easily cover the place where the Dong Z bead is. Everything in the caved Z bead is absorbed by his spiritual consciousness. In induction. 1 high-grade Taoist artifact, 3 medium-grade Taoist artifacts, 2 low-grade Taoist artifacts, 3 6 top-grade treasures, 108 high-grade treasures, 506 6 medium-grade treasures, and 1203 6 low-grade treasures, 307 2 jade slips for martial arts, 1800 magic jade slips, 5 jade slips for alchemy, 3 2 jade slips for refining weapons, 2 6 jade slips made of single-piece talismans. After inspecting the treasures of caved Z pearl, Yang Feng's eyes flashed with excitement, and he couldn't help but sigh. His face was full of excitement, and expectations for the future. I don't have the skills for Xiantianju and the next level now. I can practice the skills Wei Yong left behind first. After returning to Xiantian sect, I can receive the follow-up skills of Xiantianju and continue to practice Xiantianju. Heaven's Secret. After a long time, Yang Feng calmed down his excitement, murmured softly, and began to look up the jade slips of the exercises in the cave heaven pearl to find the exercises suitable for his practice. Chapter 25, Fire God Technique and Weapons and Equipment. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This Fire God art suits me best, so I will practice Fire God art first. After briefly browsing the 372 skill jade slips, Yang Feng chose a skill called Fire God Ju. Fire God Ju is divided into levels, corresponding to the realm of mana, yin and yang mirror, human realm, supernatural power realm, golden elixir realm, Yuanying realm, Yuanshan realm, law realm, cave realm. The 72 exercises are one of the top 5 exercises. Yang Feng awakened the advanced flame bloodline gift, obtained the genetic flame inheritance, and practiced fire attribute skills with twice the result with half the effort and the highest efficiency. Therefore, after careful consideration, Yang Feng chose Fire God Ju as his training method. After making a decision in his heart, Yang Feng immediately studied the first level of Vulcan art carefully without any hesitation. After Yang Feng thoroughly studied the first level exercises of Fire God art, he began to practice according to the first level exercises of Fire God art. Ding! You have practiced the Fire God art once, and the effect of the practice has been returned 10,000 times. You have gained 10,000 rays of mana. When Yang Feng ran the Fire God Ju once, absorbing a lot of spiritual energy, and condensing a ray of mana in the sea of consciousness, a crisp reminder sounded in his ears. Immediately afterwards, 10,000 strands of mana appeared out of thin air in Yang Feng's consciousness, greatly increasing his mana reserves. The effect of practicing 10,000 times and returning it is too obvious and too powerful. Feeling the surge of 10,000 rays of mana in the sea of consciousness, Yang Feng's eyes flashed with excitement, and he couldn't help but exclaimed, his face full of excitement and expectation. After a while of emotion, Yang Feng calmed down and continued to use the Fire God Ju technique, absorbing the spiritual energy and concentrating his magic power. Ding! You have practiced the Fire God art once, and the effect of the practice has been returned 10,000 times. You have gained 10,000 rays of mana. Ding! You have practiced the Fire God art once, and the effect of the practice has been returned 10,000 times. You have gained 10,000 rays of mana. As Yang Feng practiced, crisp prompts kept ringing in his ears, forcing him to turn off the prompts and concentrate on practicing the Fire God art. Cultivation takes no time. In the blink of an eye, a week passes. At this time, Yang Feng opened his closed eyes, felt the surging magic power of the Sea of Consciousness, and whispered softly. The mana of the Sea of Consciousness in my body has increased a lot, far exceeding that of ordinary monks with peak mana. It's time to look for the blood spirit grass and get more blood spirit grass. After all, you can practice at any time, and the blood spirit grass can be obtained instantly in the blood spirit secret realm. If you miss this period, it will be difficult to obtain the blood spirit grass again. However, before that, I can refine some treasures to increase my strength and combat effectiveness. After muttering, Yang Feng directed his spiritual consciousness towards the cave bead, inspecting its treasures and looking for a treasure suitable for himself. In the martial continent, monks' weapons are divided into 5 levels: magic weapons, spiritual weapons, treasure weapons, Tao weapons, and fairy weapons. Each level is divided into 4 levels: low grade, grade, high grade, and top grade, for a total of 10 levels. In addition, the magical weapon is the lowest level, with only a few runes engraved on it. It can withstand the monk's magic power and increase the power of various spells. It is generally used by monks in the magic realm and yin-yang mirror. The level of the spiritual weapon is slightly higher than that of the magic weapon. It is not only engraved with many runes, but also has a little spirituality. It can be manipulated with a little divine consciousness. It is extremely powerful. There are monks in the human realm who have understood the mysteries of nature. It can be refined, and it is extremely precious. Generally, only monks above the human realm level can afford it. The treasure is a treasure that is a weapon. Not only are countless runes engraved on it, but the runes are also organized into various formations. The power is extremely terrifying. The monk only needs to activate the formation on the treasure to activate it. Treasure weapon, exerting terrifying power. Only those who have mastered the mysteries of various runes and can combine countless runes into various large formations have the ability to refine treasures. Therefore, the price of the treasure is extremely high, and generally only monks with the golden core realm or above can afford it. Taoist tools are treasures that have attained the Tao. They have extremely strong spirituality and have given birth to spiritual wisdom. They have the existence of tool spirits. They have experienced the baptism of thunder and calamity, and have understood one or more secrets of the law. They are extremely powerful and have great combat effectiveness. It is extremely powerful, comparable to or even superior to monks of the same level, because Taoist weapons need to undergo the baptism of thunder and comprehend the power of the law. They can only be refined by the masters of the weapon refining realm and above. The price is extremely precious, and generally only monks with the law realm and above can afford it. At the same time, because of the existence of the Taoist weapon spirit, if you want to refine the Taoist weapon, you must obtain the approval of the weapon spirit. There are 2 ways to gain the recognition of the weapon spirit. One is to suppress the weapon spirit with absolute strength and make the weapon spirit surrender. It possesses the aptitude of reverse, which is recognized by the weapon spirit and takes the initiative to recognize the master. Dong Zhideng possesses many Taoist weapons sealed by Wei Yong, but Yang Feng knows that his strength is low, his talent is not very rebellious, and he is not completely sure of gaining the recognition of the Taoist weapon spirits. Therefore, Yang Feng gave up the Taoist weapons directly and prepared to refine some treasures for use first. In addition to the reason that his own talent may not be recognized by the weapon spirit, Yang Feng's own strength is too weak, and the use of treasure weapons is already very high profile. If he uses Tao weapons again, he will easily be targeted by some strong people. After all, it is reasonable for you, a talented disciple of Xian sect, to use some treasures. Those powerful cultivators would not offend Xian sect and become enemies with Xian sect for some treasures, but you, a talented disciple of Xian sect, actually use Dao tools that even the Rule Realm cultivators may not be able to afford. That is too much. Some Rule Realm and even Cave Realm casual cultivators will definitely stare at you like flies, and kill you as soon as they have a chance. Take the Dao tools in your hand, and run away. After all, compared with obtaining a Dao tool, offending Xian sect and becoming enemies with Xian sect is not a big deal at all. You know, Xian sect is one of the 5 major forces in Xian domain, and Xian domain is one of the 81 domains in Dongzhou. The Wu continent also has 5 states in the east, west, south and north. Once you leave the Xuanhu domain, the Xuanhu sect will be out of control. Soon, Yang Feng selected 3 treasures from a large number of treasures. These 3 treasures are the top treasure, the soul-suppressing bell, the top treasure, the black gold armor, and the low-grade treasure, the fire crow sword. The soul-suppressing bell is an extremely precious and extremely rare soul weapon. It can not only protect the soul and prevent the enemy's soul attack, but also release the soul-suppressing bell sound to attack the enemy's soul, which is very powerful. With the soul-suppressing bell, Yang Feng does not have to worry about the enemy's soul attack. At the same time, at critical moments, Yang Feng can also use the soul attack ability of the soul-suppressing bell to carry out large-scale indiscriminate soul attacks on the enemy, eliminating a large number of enemies in one fell swoop. Xuanjinjia is a top-grade treasure that focuses on defense. It can resist the enemy's physical and magical attacks and weaken the enemy's attacks by more than 10%. It is almost impossible for cultivators below the Law realm to break through the defense of Xuanjinjia. With Xuanjinjia, a top-grade defensive treasure, Yang Feng's ability to save his life will be greatly enhanced. Pay attention to one thing. If you are not afraid of the enemy's attack at all, it will be difficult to die. A large array of fire crows is engraved on the fire crow sword. After activating its large array of fire crows, up to 10,000 fire crows can be released to form a large-scale fire crow array to burn the enemy to ashes. Of course, the scale of the fire crow array can be controlled. To deal with slightly weaker enemies, the scale of the fire crows can be controlled to a suitable number of 1, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, etc. The soul-suppressing bell is usually hidden in Yang Feng's Sea of Consciousness, and it will never be revealed until the critical moment. The black gold armor is usually hidden in Yang Feng's flesh and blood. Yang Feng will not show it unless he encounters a powerful attack. With the fire crow sword as an offensive weapon, Yang Feng will use it and use it frequently, which is easy to be exposed to the outsiders. Although the fire crow sword is powerful, it is a low-grade treasure. As a talented disciple of the Xian sect, Yang Feng uses it. Although it is a little high profile, it will not attract the prying eyes of the strong, which is very suitable. After selecting the appropriate treasure, Yang Feng mobilized the mana in his body and began to refine the 3 treasures of the soul-suppressing bell, the black gold armor, and the fire crow sword. Chapter 26, Rampant. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You can go out and look for blood spirit grass. After refining the soul-calming bell, black gold armor, and fire crow sword, Yang Feng muttered softly, then put the soul-calming bell into his sea of consciousness, put the black gold armor into his flesh and blood, and then walked out of the natural cave with the fire crow sword. The beasts in the depths of the mountains are getting stronger and stronger, and the number of blood spirit grass is increasing, and the quality is getting higher and higher. With my current strength, I can go to the depths of the mountains to try my luck. Floating above the valley, looking at the lush and layered mountains in the distance, Yang Feng whispered to himself, and then moved his body, performed the sword control technique, stepped on the fire crow sword, and flew to the depths of the mountains. There is blood spirit grass 3,000 meters to the right. When the blood spirit ring on his left wrist released a series of crisp prompts, Yang Feng glanced at the arrow deacon on the blood spirit ring, chuckled, and stepped on the fire crow sword to fly to the place where the blood spirit grass was. Soon, a piece of blood spirit grass entered Yang Feng's spiritual sense. At the same time, A group of more than 1,000 beasts also entered Yang Feng's spiritual sense. Roar. 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 Looking at Yang Feng floating in the sky, the 3 fourth-level beasts roared angrily, and as soon as they moved, they turned into 3 streams of light and rushed straight to Yang Feng. In the process of rushing towards Yang Feng, the 3 fourth-level beasts opened their mouths slightly, spit out 3 hot fireballs, and bombarded Yang Feng's body, trying to kill Yang Feng on the spot. Facing the attack of the 3 hot fireballs, Yang Feng's expression changed, and with a thought, the fire crow technique was performed, and 1-foot-long fire crows condensed in the void. Go! With Yang Feng's shout, 3 fire crows met the 3 fireballs in mid-air, making a violent collision and explosion sound, turning into sparks and disappearing into thin air. The other several fire crows, with the hot breath of fire, fiercely bombarded the 3 fourth-level beasts and exploded. The terrifying explosive power directly blew the 3 fourth-level beasts into pieces and scattered them in the future. Immediately afterwards, Yang Feng waved his hand, and a series of hot rockets condensed in the void, with terrifying power, and shot at the bodies of more than 1,000 beasts. Bang! 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 Amid the crisp sounds, the beasts were pierced through the bodies by the hot rockets, died tragically on the spot, and became charred corpses. In a short moment, more than 1,000 beasts were killed by rockets. At this time, Yang Feng moved and landed in front of a blood spirit grass, began to pick blood spirit grass, and put it into the space ring. After picking more than 1,000 blood spirit grasses, Yang Feng moved and flew into the air to explore other places. First-level beast saber-toothed tiger. Looking at the huge saber-toothed tiger on the mountain in front of him, which was emitting powerful magic fluctuations, Yang Feng's eyes gleamed and he whispered softly. While muttering, Yang Feng stepped on the fire crow's sword and flew to the mountain where the first-level beast saber-toothed tiger was. 1,000-year-old blood spirit grass, 4,600-year-old blood spirit grass, and more than 120 blood spirit grass over 100 years old. All of these blood spirit grasses belong to me. After arriving at the top of the mountain of the saber-toothed tiger, the blood spirit grass guarded by the saber-toothed tiger entered Yang Feng's spiritual sense, making his eyes light up, and he said to himself with a smile. Roar! 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 While Yang Feng was talking to himself, the first-level beast saber-toothed tiger let out a series of extremely angry roars, and as soon as its body moved, it turned into a stream of light and pounced directly on Yang Feng. At the same time, the first-level beast saber-toothed tiger's whole body was full of magic, and huge tiger claws condensed in the void, with terrifying power and sharp edges, grabbing Yang Feng's body, as if it wanted to tear Yang Feng into pieces. Seeing this, Yang Feng's expression changed. With a light shout, the fire crow sword at his feet flashed and turned into a stream of light, directly facing the huge tiger claws, easily smashing them, turning them into dots of light and disappearing into the invisible. Then, under Yang Feng's urging, the fire crow's sword drew a stream of fiery red light and stabbed directly at the head of the first-level beast saber-toothed tiger. Feeling the terrifying power contained in the fire crow sword, the first-level beast saber-toothed tiger's eyes flashed with fear, and immediately mobilized the magic in his body to condense a golden protective shield to protect his body. Bang! With a crisp sound, the fire crow's sword easily broke through the golden protective shield, and the remaining force penetrated the head of the first-level beast saber-toothed tiger, causing blood to splatter and die tragically on the spot, falling to the side. At this time, Yang Feng moved his mind, and a strong wind appeared, rolling up the body of the saber-toothed tiger and sending it into the cave bead. After that, Yang Feng flew to the side of the blood spirit grass, began to pick the blood spirit grass, and put it into the space ring. Soon, Yang Feng picked hundreds of blood spirit grasses, flew into the air, turned into a stream of light, and flew away. There is a sound of fighting ahead. Yang Feng, who was flying in the sky, heard the fierce fighting in the distance, whispered softly, and flew towards the place where the fighting sound was. Soon, Yang Feng flew to the top of a mountain halfway up the mountain, and saw more than 10 outer disciples of the puppet sect, controlling more than 10 battle puppets of the Gangqi realm, besieging 6 outer disciples of the Xintian sect. Brother Yang, help! Seeing Yang Feng floating in the sky, the 6 outer disciples of Xuanhuan's sect who were besieging him were overjoyed and immediately shouted for help. Before entering the blood spirit secret realm, the outer disciples of Xuanhuan's sect had already learned in detail about the people on the Xuanhuan sect's outer elite rankings, and were very familiar with them. As the outer genius of Xuanhuan's sect who has recently gained fame, young Feng, who has the actual combat experience at the top of the outer elite rankings, has attracted the attention of all the outer disciples of Xuanhuan's sect. Therefore, the moment they saw Yang Feng, the 6 outer disciples of Xuanhuan's sect recognized Yang Feng's identity and shouted for help. At this time, more than 10 outer disciples of the puppet sect also realized the trick, and directly threw away the more than 10 combat puppets, turned around and fled to the distance, fearing that they would be killed by Yang Feng if they were a little slower. However, although their movements were slow, Yang Feng's movements were faster. They had just run a few meters when they were hit by the few fire crows condensed by Yang Feng and turned into charred corpses. After the death of the few puppet sect disciples, the combat puppets they controlled also lost control and stood still, and continued to attack the 6 Xuanhuan sect disciples. Thank you, senior brother Yang, for saving my life. Seeing that the more than 100 puppet sect disciples were easily killed by Yang Feng, the 6 Xuanhuan sect disciples were shocked and immediately thanked him loudly with a respectful look on their faces. We are all brothers from the same sect, there is no need to be so polite. Yang Feng responded casually, and then waved his hand, condensing a strong wind, rolling up the space rings of the more than 100 puppet sect disciples and putting them in his arms. After that, Yang Feng moved and turned into a stream of light, flying away into the distance. Window, _Tabula equals window, _Tabula. _Tabula. Push, mode, thumbs, feed, 01, container, tabula, below, article, thumbnail, 300x250, placement. Below article thumbnail, 300 by 250 foot, target _type, mix. Chapter 27 Killing the Ice God Palace Disciple. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Boom. 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 Following a series of violent roars, they sounded in the lush mountain forest. A huge signal flare bloomed in the sky, and everyone in the radius could clearly see it. This is the signal flare of Hyasgen Palace. That he was flying at low altitude, looking for the blood spirit grass. Yang Feng, when he saw the huge signal flares more than 2 miles away, his eyes flashed, and he murmured softly. After muttering, Yang Feng moved and turned into a stream of light, speeding towards the place where the signal bomb was. Generally speaking, people who enter the blood spirit secret realm and see other sect signal flares will not go near the area where the flares are located. After all, if another sect is recruiting people, wouldn't it be easy for an outsider to join in the fun? If one of them is not good, he will be surrounded and killed by other disciples of the sect. However, Yang Feng is not an ordinary person and is not afraid of being surrounded and killed by the Ice God Palace disciples. The most important thing is that the female disciple of Ice God Palace cheated Yang Feng, which made Yang Feng very angry and wanted to find her and kill her. That trap, Yang Feng, the female disciple of the Ice God Palace, is likely to be at the location of the signal bomb in the Ice God Palace. Even if she is not there, Yang Feng can still obtain the identity information of the female disciple from many Ice God Palace disciples and find her out. Soon, Yang Feng flew over a distance of more than 2 miles and arrived at the peak where the disciples of Ice God Palace gathered. At this time, the mountain peak had already gathered more than 24 disciples of the Ice God Palace. Secondly, the leader is clearly the female disciple of the Ice God Palace who tricked Yang Feng. Senior brother, congratulations on escaping from the claws of the 6th Order Black Eagle. However, this is the gathering place for the disciples of Ice God Palace. Senior brother is not welcome. Please leave here immediately. Looking at Yang Feng, the female Ice God Palace disciple's eyes flashed with surprise, and then she expelled him loudly with a cold look on her face. This is not your Ice God Palace's territory, why don't you stay here? You lured the 6th Order Black Eagle too, so that had to waste some of your cards to kill it. Shouldn't you give an explanation and compensation? Yang Feng said in a calm tone. You are asking for explanations and compensation at the gathering place of Ice God Palace disciples. I really don't know what is going on in your head. Brothers and sisters, do you think we should give this senior brother an explanation and compensation? That a look of disdain flashed in the eyes of the female disciple of the Ice God Palace, and she spoke loudly with a look of ridicule on her face. What explanation can you give him? Kill him directly. You are inferior to others in terms of skills, but you still have the nerve to ask for explanations and compensation. You are simply a scumbag. Senior sister, why are you talking nonsense with him? Just kill him directly, right? A monk who has just entered the magic realm dares to come to our Ice God Palace gathering place to cause trouble. He is simply looking for death. Senior sister, let's kill him together. As soon as the female Ice God Palace disciple finished her voice, more than 2 Ice God Palace disciples on the mountain peak started shouting loudly without taking Yang Feng seriously at all. Since everyone says so, let's all take action together to kill Brother Xuanhuan. Hearing the shouts of the crowd, the female disciple of the Ice God Palace flashed a fierce light in her eyes, shouted softly, and activated a top-quality magic weapon long sword to slash at Yang Feng's body at high speed. Another Ice God Palace Mana Realm monk also mobilized his physical strength and mana, activated a high-grade magic weapon long sword, and stabbed Yang Feng sharply. At the same time, the remaining Gang Chi Realm disciples took out a jade talisman from their respective space ring holders and threw it towards Yang Feng. Immediately afterwards, a series of sharp sword lights were seen, shooting out from the jade talismans, with sharp edges, slashing towards Yang Feng's body. Obviously, the disciples of Ice God Palace want to kill Yang Feng to avoid future troubles. Facing the ferocious attacks from the Ice God Palace disciples, Yang Feng's expression remained unchanged. With a fierce flash in his eyes, he swung the Fire Crow's sword and cut off the 2 attacking magic weapon long swords, and took advantage of the situation to kill the remaining sharp swords. Light chopped. Immediately afterwards, with a thought in Yang Feng's mind, streams of pure magic power penetrated his body and poured into the Fire Crow sword, making it shine brightly. Go! With Yang Feng's soft drink, the Fire Crow array inside the low-grade treasured weapon Fire Crow's sword was activated. Fire Crows, each about a foot long, condensed in the void, carrying scorching flames towards the mountain. The Ice God Palace disciples rushed towards him. Careful, run! Fire Crow formation. This is the treasure Fire Crow sword. How can a mere outer disciple of the Xian sect know how to use the Fire Crow sword? This is really shocking. It's so scary. Fire Crow, run away quickly. Seeing the Fire Crows coming from the covered ground, exuding a terrifying flame aura, the faces of the Ice God Palace disciples on the mountain peak changed drastically. They exclaimed and fled into the distance, not daring to directly attack the Fire Crows. However, the disciples of Ice God Palace moved too slowly. As soon as they moved, the scorching Fire Crows pounced on them. The scorching flames directly ignited their bodies, turning them into burning people, and they let out shrill screams one after another. Then it was burned to ashes and passed away in the wind. In a matter of seconds, most of the 24 Ice God Palace disciples were burned by the Fire Crows, leaving only 2 Magic Realm monks and more than 24 Gang Chi Realm warriors with jade talismans. Escaped separately. This man is too cruel, let's run separately. Remember this man's appearance, those who survive must report to the sect and kill this man. Seeing more than 24 fellow disciples being burned to ashes, the more than 100 Ice God Palace disciples who blocked the Fire Crow's attack changed their faces, their eyes flashed with anger, resentment and fear, and they shouted loudly and fled in all directions. Want to run? No way. Looking at the Ice God Palace disciples running away, Yang Feng snorted coldly, and then used the sword control technique to urge the Fire Crow's sword to attack more than 100 Ice God Palace disciples. Suddenly, the Fire Crow's sword turned into a red stream of light, streaking through the void like lightning, quickly chasing the Ice God Palace female disciple who had harmed Yang Feng. Stop it! Feeling the terrifying power contained in the Fire Crow sword, the Ice God Palace female disciple showed a look of fear on her face, roared, and activated a jade talisman, releasing a silver-white protective shield to protect her body. Bang! With a crisp clang, the fire crow sword shattered the silver-white protective shield and easily pierced the head of the ice god palace female disciple, causing her blood to splatter and die tragically on the spot. Afterwards, the fire crow sword, with its blazing flames, quickly chased after the other ice god palace disciples, easily breaking through their protective shields and piercing their heads, turning them into a blood mist and headless corpses. At this point, all the ice god palace disciples on the mountain were killed by Yang Feng. At this time, Yang Feng waved his hand, condensing a strong wind, rolling up all the space rings on the ice god palace disciples and sending them to the cave. After that, Yang Feng turned his attention to the Grand Canyon on the side of the mountain. Chapter 28 Top Bloodline Talent. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This Grand Canyon is simply a snake valley. There are so many poisonous snakes living in it. No wonder the disciples of the Ice God Palace would send out flares to call on the disciples to deal with the poisonous snakes in the Snake Valley. Looking at the densely packed poisonous snakes in the Grand Canyon, Yang Feng's eyes flashed with surprise, and he whispered softly. After a whisper, Yang Feng took off and flew into the Grand Canyon. During this process, Yang Feng released his consciousness and scanned the Grand Canyon. So many blood spirit grasses. There are actually 13,000-year-old blood spirit grasses and hundreds of 100-year-old blood spirit grasses. It's so exciting, that when a blood spirit grass entered the range of Yang Feng's consciousness, Yang Feng's eyes lit up, and he sighed with excitement and expectation on his face. While Yang Feng was sighing, the poisonous snakes in the Grand Canyon also found Yang Feng's traces. Among them, some powerful venomous snakes even soared into the air, turned into streams of light, and rushed straight to Yang Feng. Hiss. 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 Accompanied by the hissing sounds of the venomous snakes opened their mouths wide and spit out streams of dark venom, which shot towards Yang Feng's body. These venoms contained terrible toxicity. As soon as they appeared in the void, a strong and extremely fishy smell emanated from them and spread to the surroundings, withering all the plants in the canyon. What a terrible toxicity! Seeing the withered plants in the canyon, Yang Feng's face changed slightly, and he exclaimed involuntarily. After an exclamation, Yang Feng mobilized the mana in his body and poured it into the Fire Crow sword, a low-grade treasure in his hand, activating the Fire Crow array in it, making it shine brightly and releasing brilliant red light. Then, a few feet-long fire crows gathered in the void, carrying a hot breath of fire, and pounced on the venom, igniting it in the air and burning it to ashes, which disappeared with the wind. After that, countless fire crows formed 100 crow formations, streaked across the void like lightning, bombarded the bodies of poisonous snakes and exploded. The terrifying explosive force directly blew up the poisonous snakes, turning them into countless blood mists, and sprinkled them down the canyon. In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen poisonous snakes flying out of the Snake Valley were killed by the fire crows released by the Fire Crow sword. At this time, Yang Feng's mind moved, and the Fire Crow sword in his hand was swung out, and a stream of hot flames shot out from it, condensing a few feet-long fire crows in the void, bombarding the canyon. Boom! 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 Amidst the violent explosions, the poisonous snakes near the blood spirit grass were killed by the fire crows and turned into ashes. After clearing the poisonous snakes near the blood spirit grass, Yang Feng flew into the canyon and quickly picked the blood spirit grass in the canyon. Soon, Yang Feng picked all the blood spirit grass in the canyon, and obtained a total of 13,000-year-old blood spirit grasses, 16300-year-old blood spirit grasses, and more than 3,000 blood spirit grasses below 100 years old. With so many blood spirit grasses, I should be able to improve my bloodline talent to the top level. Looking at the thousands of blood spirit grasses in the space ring, Yang Feng whispered to himself with anticipation. After a self-talk, Yang Feng took off into the air and flew out of the canyon. Soon after, Yang Feng flew to a hidden valley, and urged the Fire Crow sword to open up a temporary cave on the mountain wall on one side of the valley, which was 3 meters high, 10 meters wide, and more than 10 meters deep. He also arranged a set of array plates at the entrance of the Lingshire cave to prevent outsiders from breaking in. After doing all this, Yang Feng took out 1,000 blood spirit grass from the space ring and swallowed it to refine it. as the 1,000 blood spirit grass entered his stomach, a stream of mysterious energy was released from it and penetrated into Yang Feng's flesh and blood cells, prompting Yang Feng's flesh and blood cells to evolve and improve his blood talent. When the mysterious energy of the 1,000 blood spirit grass was completely absorbed by Yang Feng's flesh and blood cells, Yang Feng was surprised to find that his blood talent had improved a lot, and he was much closer to the top blood talent. Seeing this, Yang Feng took out 1,000 blood spirit grass from the space ring without any hesitation and continued to swallow and refine it. After Yang Feng swallowed and refined several thousand blood spirit grasses in succession, the blood talent in his body was upgraded from high level to top level, and a stream of mysterious flame inheritance information was activated. From his genetic memory and imprinted in Yang Feng's mind, this greatly improved Yang Feng's perception of flames and his body's affinity for flames, and the speed of practicing fire attribute magic increased by more than double. Finally, the flame blood talent was upgraded to the top level. The next step is to upgrade the blood talent to the fairy level. Feeling the changes in his body and the countless flame perceptions added in his sea of consciousness, Yang Feng's eyes flashed with excitement and whispered to himself. After that, Yang Feng took out the 1,000 blood spirit grass from the space ring without any hesitation and continued to swallow and refine it. Soon, Yang Feng swallowed and refined the remaining 1,000 blood spirit grass. However, the gap between the top blood talent and the fairy blood talent is too big. To upgrade the top blood talent to the fairy blood talent, too much mysterious energy is needed. The mysterious energy provided by the 1,000 blood spirit grass only strengthened Yang Feng's top blood talent a lot, and it was still far from being promoted to the fairy blood talent. If the distance is expressed, Yang Feng has only gone 1% of the way from the top bloodline talent to the fairy bloodline talent. In other words, if Yang Feng wants to improve his bloodline talent to the fairy level, he needs nearly 100,000 blood spirit grasses. There are no 1,000 blood spirit grasses. Yang Feng did not stop, but took out a blood spirit grass of 600 pieces from the space ring and swallowed it to refine it. However, Yang Jun was surprised that although the 600 pieces of blood spirit grass provided Yang Feng with a lot of mysterious energy and strengthened Yang Feng's flesh and blood cells a lot, it did not improve his bloodline talent at all. Seeing this, Yang Feng frowned slightly, and immediately took out a blood spirit grass of more than 100 pieces from the space ring, swallowed it to refine it, and quietly felt the changes in his body. 100 blood spirit grass can no longer make my blood evolve. If I want my blood to continue to evolve, I must take blood spirit grass of the 1,000 level or above. That when the 100 blood spirit grass in his body was completely refined, Yang Feng said to himself helplessly. After a self-talk, Yang Feng stood up, left the cave, put away the array plate, soared into the air, and flew into the depths of the mountains. There is not much else in the blood spirit secret realm, but there are a lot of blood spirit grass, not to mention other places. There are countless blood spirit grasses of thousands or above in the depths of the mountains where Yang Feng is. As long as Yang Feng is careful, he can pick hundreds of thousand blood spirit grasses and upgrade his blood talent to the fairy level. Window, _tabula equals window, _tabula, _tabula dot push, mode, thumbs, feed, 01, container, tabula, below, article, thumbnail, 300x250, placement, below article thumbnail, 300 by 250, target type, mix. Chapter 29,000 Acres of Blood Spirit Grass. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 29, 100 Acres of Blood Spirit Grass. Go! With Yang Feng's shout, the top-grade treasure weapon crow's sword turned into a stream of red light, shooting towards a 100-level yin-yang realm beast, easily piercing the head of the 100-level yin-yang mirror beast, causing it to bleed and die tragically. At this time, Yang Feng waved his hand, and a gust of wind appeared out of thin air, rolling up the corpse of the 100-level yin-yang mirror beast and sending it to the Dongtian Pearl. Afterwards, Yang Feng moved his body and flew to a field of blood spirit grass, quickly picking up a 100-year-old blood spirit grass, more than 10 100-year-old blood spirit grass, and more than 100 100-year-old blood spirit grass, and put them all into the Dongtian Pearl. There are too few 100-year-old blood spirit grass in this area. We must explore deeper into the 100-year-old blood spirit grass. It is possible to obtain a large amount of 100-year-old blood spirit grass. Looking at the 12 100-year-old blood spirit grass in the cave bead, Yang Feng frowned and muttered softly. At this time, Yang Feng had been out of retreat for most of the time. He hunted 8 100-level Yin-Yang realm beasts and a 6th-level Tianren realm beast in succession, and obtained 12 100-year-old blood spirit grass. According to the current progress, it will take at least 1 month for Yang Feng to obtain more than 100 blood spirit grasses. This is a bit too long for Yang Feng, therefore, after Yang Feng muttered, he took off into the air and flew to the deeper part of the 100-year-old blood spirit grass. After flying for more than a mile, the sky began to darken. Yang Feng randomly found a towering tree and landed. He sat cross-legged on a huge branch and took out the 12 10-year-old blood spirit grasses from the cave bead. He swallowed and refined them one by one. After refining all the 12 10-year-old blood spirit grasses, Yang Feng felt the changes in the blood in his body, and then he operated the god of the world to absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth and transform it into pure mana. Ding! You operate the god of the world to refine a wisp of mana, and the effect of cultivation is returned 10,000 times. You get 10,000 wisps of mana. That when Yang Feng condensed a wisp of mana, a crisp reminder sounded in his ears. 10,000 wisps of mana appeared out of thin air in his sea of consciousness, which filled up the mana in his sea of consciousness a lot. Hearing the crisp prompt sound, and feeling the changes in the sea of consciousness, Yang Feng's expression remained unchanged, and he continued to practice the divine art. The next morning, Yang Feng opened his tightly closed eyes. Felt the surging mana in the sea of consciousness, and a faint smile appeared on his face. He secretly sighed, the system is awesome, and stood up, soared into the air, and began to explore around. Ding! 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 When Yang Feng flew to a valley with extremely rich spiritual energy, the blood spirit ring on his wrist issued a series of rapid prompt sounds, and a blood-colored arrow pointed in the direction of the valley. Seeing this scene, Yang Feng was delighted and immediately flew to the valley not far away. Roar! 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 Yang Feng had just flown within a meter of the valley, and a series of angry beast roars rang out from the valley. One by one, the 4th-level beasts rose into the air from the valley, turned into streams of light, and rushed straight to Yang Feng. These 4th-level beasts were divided into more than 10 species, with a total of more than 10, so dense that one could not see the edge at a glance. Seeing this scene, Yang Feng frowned slightly, and with a thought, he mobilized the mana in his body and poured it into the crow sword, making the crow sword shine brightly and releasing brilliant light. Then, one after another crows condensed in the void, forming a crow formation, surrounding more than 10 4th-level beasts that flew out of the valley. Boom! 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 Amidst the fierce roars, the crows exploded one by one. The powerful explosive force directly blew more than 4-level beasts in the crow formation into pieces, turning them into blood mist that filled the sky and scattered in the direction. Roar! 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 At this time, angry beast roars came from the valley not far away. One by one, huge 1st-level, 6th-level, 8th-level, and even 8th-level beasts with terrifying power flew out of the valley and pounced directly on Yang Feng. In the process of pounce on Yang Feng, attacks containing terrifying power came from these 6th-level and 8th-level beasts, pouring down on Yang Feng with infinite power. Facing the terrifying attacks of countless beasts, Yang Feng's face changed slightly, and he quickly mobilized the mana in his body and poured it into the top-grade treasure Xianjin armor, making it shine and float out of his body to protect Yang Feng's body. Bang! 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 Amidst the crisp sounds, attacks with terrifying power bombarded the Xianjin armor on Yang Feng's body one after another, causing dazzling sparks, but they could never break the defense of Xianjin armor, let alone hurt Yang Feng. 10 8th-level Jindan level beasts, 108 1st-level Shinton level beasts, 382 6th-level Tianren level beasts, and 892 1st-level Yin-Yang mirror beasts. Am I poking a beast's nest? Looking at the terrifying beasts approaching rapidly, Yang Feng's face changed slightly, and he couldn't help but exclaimed. After a cry of surprise, Yang Feng's mind moved, and he mobilized the magic power in his body and poured it into the top-grade treasure, the soul-suppressing bell. Then, the top-grade treasure, the soul-suppressing bell, flew out of Yang Feng's sea of consciousness and hovered in front of Yang Feng. Boom! 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 Accompanied by crisp bell sounds, terrifying soul attacks were sent out from the soul-calming bell, pouring down on the many beasts that pounced on Yang Feng, easily destroying the souls of the beasts one by one, turning them into cold corpses, falling to the ground. Seeing this, Yang Feng waved his hand, and strong winds formed in the void, rolling up the corpses of the beasts one by one, and sending them all to the cave Heaven Pearl for storage. In a moment, the beasts that attacked Yang Jun were killed by the soul-calming bell, and all their corpses were collected by Yang Feng in the cave Heaven Pearl. At this time, Yang Feng moved, turned into a stream of light, and flew into the valley. A ton of blood spirit grass. I've made a fortune this time. Looking at the ton of blood spirit grass that was specially opened up in the center of the valley, Yang Feng's eyes flashed with excitement, and he couldn't help but exclaimed. Amid the exclamation, Yang Feng released his spiritual sense and scanned the ton of blood spirit grass. 3 100,000-year-old blood spirit grasses, 98 10,000-year-old blood spirit grasses, 1 ton of 236-ton-year-old blood spirit grasses, 12,300 100-year-old blood spirit grasses, more than 100,000 100-year-old blood spirit grasses. I'm so rich. After obtaining the specific number of blood spirit grasses in the ton of blood spirit grasses, Yang Feng's eyes flashed with ecstasy, exclaimed, and flew into the ton of blood spirit grasses, quickly picking the blood spirit grasses. Window, _tabula equals window, _tabula, _tabula. Push, mode, thumbs, feed, 01, container, tabula, below, article, thumbnail, 300x 250, placement, below article thumbnail, 300 by 250, target _type, mix. Chapter 30 Immortal Bloodline Talent. You are listening at novelfull.audio. There are thousands of acres of blood spirit grass in this valley, and there are 3 blood spirit grasses with a value of 100,000, which are not something that an 8th level beast can possess. That is to say, the one who owns the 1,000 acres of blood spirit grass can probably go out, and the beasts here are just his servants left to guard the 1,000 acres of blood spirit grass. After picking up all the 1,000 acres of blood spirit grass, Yang Feng looked at the empty spiritual field, his eyes flashed, and he guessed secretly. After a while of guessing, Yang Feng took off, performed the sword control technique, and stepped on the fire crow sword to fly to the outskirts of the mountain range. After flying for more than 1,000 miles, Yang Feng randomly found a lush mountain and flew down. After that, Yang Feng's mind moved, and he turned into a stream of light and flew into the cave sky bead. The Dongtian pearl was under Yang Feng's control, flew to a pile of rocks, turned into fragments, and merged with countless broken stones in the pile of rocks. There is a Dongtian world hidden in the Dongtian pearl. Without the cultivation strength of the true immortal realm, it is impossible to discover the existence of the Dongtian pearl. I swallowed and refined the blood spirit grass in the Dongtian pearl, and I don't have to worry about the threat of ferocious beasts from the outside world. It's very safe. After looking at the outside environment through the Dongtian pearl, Yang Feng muttered softly, and then used the power of the Dongtian pearl to build a magnificent palace in the wilderness, then sat cross-legged in the palace, took out a 100,000-year-old blood spirit grass, and swallowed it. As the 100,000 blood spirit grass ate, a stream of mysterious energy was released from it, penetrating into the blood and flesh cells of Yang Feng's limbs, strengthening his blood and flesh cells and improving his blood level. When the mysterious energy contained in the 100,000 blood spirit grass was exhausted, Yang Feng was surprised to find that his blood had been greatly improved, and he was only 1/3 of the way away from being promoted to the immortal level blood. Seeing this, Yang Feng's eyes flashed with excitement, and he quickly took out the second 100,000 blood spirit grass and swallowed it. When the mysterious energy released by the second 100,000 blood spirit grass was all melted into Yang Feng's blood and flesh cells, Yang Feng's blood was successfully improved to the immortal level. A stream of mysterious flame inheritance was activated from Yang Feng's bloodline genes, imprinted in his mind, and deepened his understanding of flames countless times. A flame law mark appeared in Yang Feng's sea of consciousness, emitting a strong power of the flame law, allowing Yang Feng to understand the power of the flame law at all times. At this time, if Yang Feng cultivates to the peak of the Yuanshan realm, he can integrate the flame law mark in the sea of consciousness, comprehend the power of the flame law in one fell swoop, and be promoted to a law realm cultivator. In other words, if Yang Feng cultivates step by step and does not die halfway, he can become a law realm cultivator 100%. Finally, I have raised my flame blood talent to the fairy level. This time I came to the blood spirit secret realm for adventure. I really made a fortune, feeling the changes in his blood, especially the mark of the flame law in his sea of consciousness. Yang Feng's eyes flashed with ecstasy. He couldn't help but sighed softly, his face full of excitement. When Yang Feng was excited, a tiger demon with a human body and a tiger head, with a large group of ferocious beasts exuding a terrifying aura, flew into the valley where the 1,000 acres of blood spirit grass were. Who did this? I will cut them into pieces. Looking at the empty 1,000-acre spiritual platform, the tiger demon with a human body and a tiger head, his eyes flashed with rage, and roared loudly with a murderous look on his face. After a roar, the tiger demon with a human body and a tiger head waved his hand, and a pure magic power flew out of his body and landed on the mountain wall in the valley. Then, the rocks on the mountain wall shattered silently, and a huge jade disc appeared. Then, pictures appeared on the huge jade disc. If you look closely, you can find that the picture on the jade disc is the scene of Yang Feng picking thousands of acres of blood spirit grass. Damn human thief, I will cut you into pieces. Pass my order, kill all the human beings in the blood spirit mountains, no one will be spared. Looking at the picture on the jade disc, the tiger demon with a human body and a tiger head, his eyes flashed with fierceness, and he ordered loudly with a cold tone. Then, the terrifying beasts beside the tiger demon roared in anger, flew into the air, and flew to all parts of the mountain range, wherever these terrifying beasts passed. The first level, second level, third level, fourth level, fifth level, sixth level, seventh level, and eighth level beasts all surrendered to these terrifying beasts. Afterwards, these terrifying beasts led a large number of beasts and rushed to the outskirts of the mountain range, looking for human warriors and monks. Soon, the beasts led by these terrifying beasts encountered the outer disciples of the 5 major sects one by one. These outer disciples of the 5 major sects who encountered the beasts were no match for the beasts, and were overwhelmed by the beasts and became their food. In just 3 days, the outer area of the blood spirit mountains was searched by countless groups of ferocious beasts. Except for a few lucky ones, all the outer disciples of the 5 major sects in the outer area of the blood spirit mountains were overwhelmed by the ferocious beasts and became their food. The tiger demon with a human body and a tiger head used secret methods to find Yang Feng's traces, and kept hovering above the cave bead, trying to find Yang Feng's traces, cut Yang Feng into pieces, and take back the blood spirit grass in the valley. This tiger demon has refined more than half of its body, and it is only one step away from being promoted to the realm of law, reshaping its body, and condensing its human form. Obviously, this tiger demon is at the peak of the Xuanhuan realm, or in other words, a beast at the half-step law realm. It is extremely terrifying and dangerous. Once this tiger demon finds my trail, even if I have the 2 top-grade treasures of Xianjin armor and Xuanhuan bell to protect me, it will be difficult for me to escape from its hands. Therefore, during this period of time, I should stay in the cave bead and practice honestly, and wait quietly for the arrival of the March period. Yang Feng secretly glanced at the tiger demon hovering in the sky through the cave bead, his face changed slightly, he muttered softly, and then sat cross-legged to practice. There is no spiritual energy of heaven and earth in the cave bead, and practicing fire god Ju cannot condense mana, which is a complete waste of time. Therefore, Yang Feng concentrated on practicing Dragon Elephant Gong. After all, the practice of Dragon Elephant Gong does not require the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, but only requires quantity. Yang Feng has thousands of bottles of essence pills in his hand, which can replenish his energy, so that he does not have to worry about the problem of energy shortage. Ding! You practice Dragon Elephant skill once, and the practice effect will be returned 10,000 times, and your strength will increase by 10,000 kilograms. After Yang Feng practiced Dragon Elephant skill once, a crisp reminder sounded in his mind. Then, a stream of terrifying power grew from Yang Feng's body, increasing his strength by 10,000 kg. Hearing the crisp reminder sound, Yang Feng's expression did not change, and he directly turned off the reminder sound and continued to practice dragon elephant skill to increase his strength.